So, good morning everyone. I am Rosemarie, Cabucayan, and I belong to Group 1, and my topic would be taxation and corporation. So, first, what is corporate tax? So, corporate tax, it is a tax charged by the government on a company's profit or net income. So, this tax is imposed on earnings such as sales, uh, capital gains, and commissions. So, that is an essential source of the government revenue. So, diba, why we pay tax? According to what they said, that ang tax daw gikan daw din ang government, ang mga sweldo sa government employees. So we have different kind of tax. We have property tax, we have income tax on individuals, we have value added tax sa mga products. So daghan kayo ang kind sa tax. So now let's proceed. We have taxation and corporation under create law. So first, what is create law? So create law, it is the Corporate Recovery and Tax Incentives for Enterprises Act. So with this act with a purpose to grant a tax relief for companies in financial need and further increase in the competitiveness in the Philippines under the economic situations arising from COVID-19 pandemics. So, di ba sa situation na to, karon most of the businesses is nagsara, wala na sila sales. So, this act is create law with the purpose nga para makarecover ang mga medium enterprises para makabalik na sila sa ilahang business and for them to become stable na balik. So that is the purpose of the create law. So next is what is corporation. So corporation, di ba kay bawo naman ta what is corporation? So dili na nako ni siya i-elaborate pa pag-ayo. So corporation is an organization, usually group of people or company being authorized by the state to act as a single entity and recognized as such in a law for certain purposes. Next, we have types of corporations. So we have three types of corporations. So first, we have domestic corporation. So domestic corporation is an organization organized and exists under Philippine law. So we have examples of this is Jollibee, PLDT, Globe, SM, San Miguel Corporation. So from the word domestic means naa siya main branch sa Philippines and also na siya branch abroad. So number two, we have Resident Foreign Corporation or the RFC. So it is organized and exists under foreign law. So sa domestic under Philippine law, while the RFC is under the foreign law and engage business in the Philippines. So we have examples of this is McDonald's, Coca-Cola, Toyota. So di ba sa Toyota, the main branch is in the Japan. Pero naatay Toyota Philippines. So na branch ang Toyota sa Philippines. And then we have the non-resident foreign corporation. So non-resident foreign corporation, it is organized and exists under foreign law. So pareha sila sa resident foreign, but ang NRFC does not engage business in the Philippines, but nag-earn siya income from within. So have examples is Bank Central Asia. So di ba, Bank Central Asia is we're not really familiar with that. Kaya wala man siya sa Philippines. But Bank Central Asia, it is a private-owned bank sa Thailand. So wala siya branch sa Philippines, pero taxable siya sa Philippines since nag-earn siya income from within. So we have example of this is Toyota Philippines. So Toyota Philippines, it's a resident foreign corporation. And then, nag-loan borrowed siya ni Bank Central Asia with this NRFC. So nag-loan borrow siya. So there is a passive income. So naka-income si Bank Central Asia gikan ni Toyota Philippines. So that is a passive income. So since na-income nga na-involved, na-earn si Bank Central Asia, so there is a tax. So taxable siya sa Philippines. So next, we have a table here. It shows para mas masabta nato. So we have on the first column, we have types of corporations. So we have the three types. And then the next column is in the Philippines, income derived within the Philippines and income derived outside the Philippines or abroad. So sa domestic corporation, it is taxable within the Philippines since nag-earn siya og income sa Philippines. And taxable siya abroad since domestic corporation is worldwide. So next is we have resident foreign corporations. So taxable siya sa Philippines, pero dili siya taxable abroad. Why? It is, for example, as ganina, Toyota Philippines. So, si Toyota Philippines, taxable siya sa Philippines. Pero si Toyota Philippines, dili na siya taxable sa abroad. Ingani magudi siya. Kung asa ka country, kung asa ang imong respective country, ana ra ka mobayad. So, ingana sa RFC. Sa NRFC naman pod, it is taxable in the Philippines and not taxable sa abroad. So why? So di ba si Bank Central Asia, as I said ganina, so nag-earn siya og passive income gikan sa Philippines, gikan sa Toyota Philippines. So that's why taxable siya sa Philippines. Ingani rin siya para masabtan ninyo, ang RFC is not siya branch or office sa Philippines. Ang NRFC is wala siya branch or office sa Philippines, pero nag-earn siya og income gikan sa Philippines. So that's it. So let's proceed. We have the three types of income tax. So first is basic income tax. Under basic income tax, we have regular corporate income tax or the RCIT. So under sa train law, so di ba, if I'm not mistaken, ang train law is under na siya sa Duterte administration. Yes, so the train law, ang RCIT is 30%. While under sa create law, di ba ang create law is, it is a purpose, ang purpose niya is para makaka-recover ang mga business gikan sa pandemic na to karon. So under sa create law, 25% na lang siya. So niles siya og 5%. Pero except sa domestic corporation nga maka-achieve sa threshold nga taxable income not exceeding 50 million and total asset not exceeding 100 million. So, imbis nga ang tax rate nimo is 25%, that would be 20%. So, applicable na siya sa domestic corporation. Also, take note sa total asset nimo nga excluding na ang land value. So, if you have a office sa imong business, so excluding na ang land value ana ini compute nimo sa total asset. Okay, so now let's proceed to minimum corporate income tax. So, minimum corporate income tax, under sa train law, so that is 2%. While under sa create law, that is 1%. 1% na lang ang IMSIT nga imong mabayaran. But that is applicable only from July 1, 2020 to July 30, 2023. So, take note sa date. Yes. Ang date ha, i-take note ninyo ka na mag-uban ana nga is sa kanang sa problem. So naiuban na nga sa problem is malipat mo sa date. Kaya naiuban na nga nga imbis nga dili pa na sila applicable, dili pa siya nimo tax sa nag-MSIT, gitax nimo siya as MSIT. Okay? So we have under is major key points sa MSIT. So I'll just give you the major key points, pero don't worry, i-elaborate pa na sa next reporter. So I'll just give you some knowledge, tahay. So MSIT is computed as 1% of gross income. And it is also applicable only to domestic corporation and resident foreign corporation. So, ang NRFCs, dili na siya applicable sa MSIT. And also, another key points, effective na siya beginning the 4th taxable year following a year of commencement. So, kung example, nag-start ang imong business o 2011. Nag-start imong business o 2011. So, sa 2011, dili pa ka na magbayad og tax. Mura og extended para siya 4 years. So inig 2015 ana ka magbayad sugod sa imong tax. So that is with the purpose nga para mas stable pa ang imong business. Kasi di ba inig start imo sa imong business, dili pa man na siya stable, dili pa stable ang imong sales, ang income. So mo na siya purpose kung anong effective pa na siya sa beginning sa 4th taxable year. So now let's proceed to excess MSIT. If MSIT is greater than RSIT, can be credited over 3 years and can be credited credited against R-seat if R-seat is greater than M-seat. Also, M-seat is computed quarterly and annually. Now, let's proceed to improperly accumulated earning tax or IAET. So, under sa train law, that is 10%. Pero under sa create law, wala na. So, wala na kay bayaran nga improperly accumulated income tax. Okay, so you have table 1.2. Kompleto na ni atong table karon. So, kagani sa table 1.1, so that is 3 columns lang. And now, we have 5 columns. So, na-add na ang tax rate or the R-seat. Also, we have tax base na. So, sa domestic corporation, the tax rate is either 25% or 20%. Since, as I've said earlier, ang 25% is under sa create law. And, di ba if ma-achieve nimo ang threshold nga not exceeding ang imong total taxable income not exceeding 50 million and total asset not exceeding 100 million, so ang imong tax rate is 20%. So that is why 25 and 20% ang tax rate under sa domestic corporation. So now let's proceed to resident foreign corporation, that is stable na dyan na siya. 25% also sa non-resident foreign corporation, is 25% also. So in the tax base sa DC, we have taxable income na siya. Sa RFC, we have also taxable income, while sa non-resident foreign corporation, that is gross income. So later, ma-discuss na siya kung para asa ang tax base, kung unsa gamit sa tax base and sa tax rate. Now, let's proceed to the number 2. It is the final withholding tax or FTW. So, FTW is a kind of withholding tax which is prescribed on a certain income payments and not creditable against the income tax due of the payee on the other income subject to regular rate of tax for the taxable year. So, example of this is the interest, the prices, winning, royalties, and dividends. So, example na siya mga dinago na nga prices, diba? So, taxable na siya. So, that is the kung unsa na ang FTW. So, now let's proceed to capital gain tax. Don't worry, some of the reporters i-elaborate nila since ilahan nga topic. So, CGT, it is a tax on the profit realized on a sales of a non-inventory asset. It is the most common capital gains are realized from the sales of stocks, bonds, precious metals, real estates, and properties. So, capital gains tax, it is either long-term or short-term, depende kung kanang unsa kay dugayon ni magi-own na siyang asset. And now, we have here formula in computing income tax on corporations. So, unahon na nato unsang formula sa taxable income. So, this is, we have gross income less allowable deduction or allowance deductions. So, that would be taxable income equals taxable income. And, that will be multiplied by tax rate or the R-seat. So, overall, that would equal to income tax due kung muna siya ibang bayaran sa BIR. So, later we'll give examples para mas masabtan ninyo. Next, we have formula in computing gross incomes. So, this, nani siya duha. It's either sales of goods and sales of services. So, in sales of goods, we have gross sales less sales returns, allowances, and discounts, less cost of sales, and that would be that would be equal to gross income. So next, on the other hand, we have sales of services. So gross receipts, so muna siya ang mga cash receipts nga na-receive nimo, less allowance and discounts, less cost of services equals gross income. So next is allowable deductions. So di ba sa formula nato ganina, so gross income less allowable deductions. So allowable deductions na siya. Two options nga pwede nimo gamiton. First is we have the itemized deductions and the other is the optional standard deductions. So sa itemized, that is the actual expenses na nimo. Pero dili ka makagamit sa imong itemized deductions if wala kay supporting documents such as receipts and invoices. So if wala na ganay nangawa na gana ang imong mga receipts, So, you better use the optional standard deductions. Ang optional standard deduction is the estimated expenses. So, estimated na siya. So, no need na ka o mga supporting documents. Also, it is computed as the 40% of gross income. So, next, we have 3-step framework in computing corporate income tax. So, better nga mas mahinumduman ninyo kanunay para mas daliran niyo pag-solve sa kung saan niyo i-compute sa corporate tax. So first is we have to identify the classifications of the corporations. So if it is either domestic, resident foreign, or non-resident foreign corporation. Why? Nganong kinahanglan man nga mahibaw nimo kung unsa na siya nga classification. So kung mahibawan niyo muna siya nga kung asa siya na belong, kung asa siya nga classification, then you'll know already kung asa siya nimo taxan. It's either sa Philippines and abroad or sa Philippines ra. Also, you'll know the tax rate nga imong gamiton, if it is 25% or 20%. And kung unsa nga tax base, if it is taxable income or gross income. So also, number 2, you have to compute the total asset and the taxable income. So, ngano kinahanglan nimo siyang i-compute ang imong total asset and imong taxable income. It is for you to know kung unsa nga tax rate, if it is 25% or 20%. Pero applicable na siya sa domestic corporation. Kaya ang atong RFC and NRFC is 25% na siya. So, number 3, you have to compute the MSIT. So, ang imply na dyan nga mo-compute ka og MSIT except sa NRFC. Since ang NRFC is dili na siya kinahanglan nga mag-compute pa ka og MSIT. So, now let's proceed. So, we have example here, corporate tax, income tax example. So, we have, as you can see, we have taxable income of 1,000, wait. It's not 1,000. It's 1,250,000. Naisag lang na siya. Also, we have less expenses. So, less expenses. So, our expenses are cost of goods sold, depreciations, and leasing expenses. So, ang atong cost of goods sold is 840,000. Ang depreciation is 58,000. Ang leasing expenses is 20,000. So, you have to add these expenses and i-minus mo sa imong gross income. So, a total of 332,000. So, also you have to note that the taxable income from domestic corporation. So, this example ra. So, this example is sa DC ni siya nga nag-avail siya og threshold niya not exceeding the 5 million sa imong TI and not exceeding sa 1 million sa imong total assets. So, next is we have
get your exercises, class.
So as kanina, so 332,000 i-times na siya nimo og 20%, times na siya nimo og 20%, so that would be 66,400. So mo na siya ang imuhang income tax due. Pasensya na kay medyo nagiring ang PPP. I don't know what happened. So also, you just have to take note sa DC, kinahanglan kay makahibaw jud ka kung nag-avail ba siya sa threshold or wala. Kay basin og nag-avail siya tapos ang imong gamit is 25%, so dako kag babayaran. Diba? So dako na baya pong less ang 5% nga tax nga imong mabayaran. So now I give na video dire presenting unsa ko ni kuha sa RSIT, mainly sa RSIT and sa MSIT. So you just have to listen.
Get your exercises, class. Kunin kayo ng calculus, so compute with me. And let's go to problem number 1. So whenever you're answering problems, syempre tingin ka muna sa requirements. Okay, requirement. Compute for the income tax due under the following scenarios. We have 5 scenarios. Scenario 1, domestic corporation. Number 2, resident foreign corporation. Number 3, non-resident foreign corporation. Number 4, domestic corporation with total assets of 90 million. And number 5, domestic corporation availing the optional standard deduction. Okay. So, SBF Corporation reported the following information in 2021. Total assets, excluding land, 150 million. Ano agad yung unang maiisip dyan? Ito yun. So sabi dyan, excluding land, 150, pasok ka pa ba sa threshold na to? Hindi na. Automatic, gagamitin natin yung rate is 25%. So write it down. 25% gagamitin natin dyan. We have gross sales for Philippines and in Japan. Okay, sales returns and allowances, sales discount, cost of sales, and deductible expenses or allowable deductions. So, tingnan natin class. Compute na natin yung gross income and taxable income sa Philippines and sa Japan. Okay, so lagyan natin dito, Philippines, okay, Japan, and total. Lagyan tayo ng total. Alright, so compute natin class yung gross income and taxable income or net taxable income. Sige, paano ulit computein yung gross income? Ito, na-erase ko na pala. Pero basically, gross sales minus sales returns and allowances minus sales discounts minus cost of sales. So sige, compute with me. So doon mo tayo sa Philippines, 6 million minus 200,000 minus 100,000 minus 2 million, you get 3.7 million. Nakuha niyan? Okay, sulat natin dito, 3.7 million is our gross income in the Philippines. Japan naman tayo, 4 million minus 150,000 minus 80 minus 1.5 million. Okay, so I got 270,000. Okay, 270,000 gross income in Japan. Add natin yan para makuha natin yung total gross income. 270,000 plus 3.7 million, 5,970,000 is our total gross income. Okay, are you following? Okay, now, compute naman natin yung taxable income. Sa Philippines, kung may gross income na tayo na 3.7 million, i-minus lang natin yung deductible expenses, you have 2.7 million. Okay, 2.7 million. And then sa Japan, if meron kang 2,770,000 na gross income, we deduct the expenses, 500,000, 2,270,000. Tama? So, ulit natin. 2,770,000 minus 2,270,000 minus 500,000, you get 1,770,000. Our taxable income in Japan. Okay, add natin yung dalawa, plus 2.7 million, you get 4,470,000 total taxable income. Okay. Sige, so let's go to scenario number 1. Scenario number 1 nating class is, what if daw domestic corporation? Kapag domestic corporation, we know, taxable siya sa income niya in the Philippines and income niya abroad. Ano gagamitin nating rate? 25 or 20%? Since hindi siya pumasok sa threshold, we use 25%. So ang gagamitin natin is taxable income na total. Okay? So Philippines and Japan, lagay natin here. Taxable income na total is 4,470,000. Multiply natin by a tax rate of 25%. Okay? 4,470,000 times 25%. Did you get 1,117,500? That is our regular corporate income tax. 1,117,500. Huwag mong kalimutan yung step number 3 natin. Lagi kang magko-compute ng MSIT. Okay? Minimum corporate income tax is ilang percent? 1% of gross income. Ano yung gross income na gagamitin natin? Ito. Total gross income. Okay? Because domestic corporation siya. Global or worldwide na income, taxable yan. 5,970,000 times 1%, that is 59,700. 59,700. So class, ano babayaran mo dyan? RSIT or MSIT? Okay? Kaya tinawag ng minimum. Okay? Hindi bababa dyan yung babayaran mo. Therefore, pipiliin mo lagi RSIT or MSIT, whichever is higher. Alright? So in this case, babayad natin kay BIR 1,117,500. That is our income tax due or yan, RSIT. Gets? Okay. So erase tayo ng content dito. Ayan. Sige, let's go to scenario number 2. Scenario number 2 is, what if class resident foreign corporation? Pag resident foreign corporation, taxable lang yung income niya sa Philippines. Tax base natin is taxable income. Therefore, ang gagamitin mo dyan is 2.7 million. Got it? Scenario number 2, resident foreign corporation. Taxable income in the Philippines, how much? 2.7 million. Ano yung tax rate na gagamitin natin? Always 25%. 2.7 million times 25%. Okay, 2.7 times 25%, you get 67 ulit. So 2.7 million times 0.25, 675,000. Our regular corporate income tax is 675,000. Kailangan ba mag-compute ng MSIT kapag RFC ka? Answer is yes. Sabi ko dito, MSIT applies to domestic corporation and resident foreign corporation. Ano yung basis? Gross income. Ano pipiliin mo dito? Ito. Gross income sa Philippines. Kasi taxable lang siya within the Philippines. Okay, so 3.7 million times 1%, you get 37,000. MSIT for scenario number 2 is 37,000. Therefore, pipiliin natin whichever is higher. Obviously, ang higher dito is RSIT of 675,000. That's our answer for scenario number 2. Okay? So class, ito na lang mag-erase para at least ma-retain natin yan. Alright, so let's go to scenario number 3. Make sure nakapin yung solution natin. Scenario number 3, what if naman class, NRFC. Kapag NRFC, okay, taxable within the Philippines, tax rate natin is 25%, pero final withholding tax siya. Ang tax base natin is gross income. So ano pipili natin dyan? So piliin mo yung gross income, okay, in the Philippines, 3.7 million. Right, 3.7 million. Multiply natin by the tax rate, always 25%. 3.7 million times 25%, you get, okay, 925,000. Final withholding tax. RSIT or the final withholding tax, 925,000. Kailangan ba mag-compute ng MSIT for non-resident foreign corporation? Answer is, no need. Kasi nakalagay dyan, applies only to domestic corporation and resident foreign corporation.
So guys, that would be all my report. Hope nga if na may questions, you can approach me so I can explain it to you. And also, after this, I'll give exercises. Pero sa kanila sa niya topic, all about computations ra. So that would be all. Thank you.